I love to take it down the street and up through the little town of Snow where we live and terrify the children. So Stonewall's gone through a lot of different versions. It's a weird car to begin with. It's a 74 Plymouth Duster. It's got a 70 nose on it. It's, probably unlike most things you'll ever see. It's got a Nissan S14 independent rear subframe in it, on coilovers all the way around, S14 front subframe. I had Wisefab front suspension on it so it could have, a crazy steering angle, drift car type deal. So I've taken out drifting several times when it had its LS in it. But after C2C and after the first time I went to Texarkana and did the Bandit Run deal, I had kind of gotten bored with it a little bit and wanted to do something different. And I was checking out Facebook Marketplace, as I do every day, just to see what strikes my fancy. And there's this Coors Light show car that shows up. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's an old cup car, old COT version with a weird wing on it and all that. But it's ugly, but it's interesting. It was on there for 10 grand. So I clicked the link, and sure enough, second or third picture, it's got a picture of the hood popped, and it's got the actual cup motor in it still, instead of, a crate 350 with an automatic transmission like most of these show cars have that go around and do displays. This thing had a real Evernham cup motor in it. So I contact the person and go back and forth a couple times, and it turns out these people at the very beginning of COVID had lost their Coors contract that they were using this car for to market and go out to events, because there were no more events, and they were just trying to unload assets because they had everything back at their warehouse now and no space to keep it. So I ended up buying the car for 7 grand. I immediately pulled the motor and transmission out of it after I ripped a little burnout in the driveway. Sold the car for 6 grand as a rolling shell. So I have $1,000 in a cup motor and transmission. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this thing? Naturally, I sold the LS and T56 out of Stonewall and stuffed that R5P7 Evernham motor in it. And now I have something that's completely horrifying to drive. I had to change a lot of the front suspension to be able to fit this engine in with the dry sump oiling system. It just didn't clear anything anymore. It's absolute death trap, even worse than it was before with front steering. It's something I still got to work out. But the car will turn 9,000 RPM and make 800 horsepower, and it sounds like, a NASCAR Cup car. It's easily the most fun thing I have to crank up and have somebody go for a ride in. It's okay for me driving it because I'm kind of used to it now, but the steering's terrible. It gets stuck at lock. If you ever try to do a U-turn, it won't come back out of lock. You have to literally get out of the car and kick the tires to get it to move back. People that are unsuspecting, because you can't tell it's got a cup motor in it when they, first see the car. It's just got a big hood scoop with air cleaner sticking out of it. And I'm like, oh, let's go for a ride in this car. I'll take you up the road. And I've got the boom tube coming out right beside the passenger's eardrum, so they know pretty quickly that they're in for a terrifying experience. But it fires up, and it's loud and obnoxious, and people 3 counties over know the car's running, and it'll scare you. It's not one to be messed with. Realistically, I don't drive this car all that often, so it's really just a bring it out and show it off kind of thing, and then throw the cover back over it now, which I don't know that that's really what I intended this car to be, but you can't have a cup motor and not put it in something, and that's the only something I had to put it in at the time. So it at least has a Mopar engine in the Mopar now, and people hate on me a lot less for that. So it's a really, really fun car, and I love to take it down the street and up through the little town of Snow where we live and terrify the children. Once I fix the front suspension, that car is going to be what it is. I think I don't have any grand aspirations to put it back to street car or, run a cannonball in it again. This car is just going to be the obnoxious, terrifying car to go out and rip rolling burnouts in, with no real objective to what I want to do with it at all. It's a weird car though, because it doesn't have traction when you first pull off, but the way the cam is and those Cup cars, the power doesn't really come on until like 7,500 because the cars are built to run at 8 to 9,000 the whole time because they're built to run at Land Motor Speedway where you're going 170 at the slowest and 200 at the fastest. So you don't ever really come down out of that RPM range once you're up to speed. So when you bury into this car, it feels like a 400 horsepower LS when you first, get down in it, and it'll spin the tires a little bit. But then when it builds up into 7,000, it almost feels like a turbo car because it comes on so hard, so fast. And then it's 900 horsepower and oh my God, we're going to die. I think in its current state, it's probably $10,000, $12,000 transmission. Ernie Elliott sells them out of Dawsonville where he used to do all of Evernham's stuff. So they're still readily available. He's got a pile of them up there that he sells and rebuilds and takes in trades. So if you ever decide you're in need of a R5P7 old Dodge Cup motor, Ernie Elliott's the guy to call.
Off the Record can help you find a speeding ticket or traffic citation no matter where you get it. You just download their app, take a photo of your ticket, and they match you with the best local attorney to achieve the best possible outcome. They can help you avoid costly insurance premium increases, points on your license, and other issues. And when you register, use the code VinWiki for a discount on their services. If you don't have a ticket that you need to fight right now, go ahead and download their app and register using the VinWiki code, and that will reserve your discount for whenever you might need it in the future. It's a great thing to have in your pocket when you never know who's going to pull up behind you on your next road trip.